You and I.
Hey YouTube, what's going on? It's the first time in a long time, isn't it? Obviously. Well, I just got another MacBook and, I guess I could be happy about it. I wanted to say this though. Of course, obviously, I am planning on probably doing live streams in the future. The thing is that I saw something. Well, I wanted to say one other thing because I did subscribe to some socialist subreddit. So, of course, obviously, hopefully, that will work out some way. But yeah, I saw something by an ANCAP named Mr. Dapperton, and I have to say this about Mr. Dapperton. Oh, goodness gracious. You see, there's this thing that I think, was probably going to happen anyways, and it involves YouTube censorship. And the idea is that YouTube is trying to enact this policy, or they're thinking about doing it, that's called creator-on-creator harassment. It's to combat cyberbullying. And my critique of it is that obviously YouTube's history, the way it's been in the past, is that when you would have a channel like Alex Jones come up, say all kinds of BS, whatever, they would take it down. But then obviously channels that debunk Alex Jones would also get gutted. And this is a problem because you have people like Nick Fuentes and the rest of them, and just this whole group of people that are neo-Nazis who will not only, flag videos that are debunking neo-Nazis, but will literally go out and then call this harassment when people do debunk them just to get the channel taken down, even if it's doing it properly, debunking these neo-Nazis properly. And one incident that I was thinking about this whole idea with the NIFB and of course this and that, was that the NIFB was known to doing stuff like that, knowing to false flag and knowing to do whatever. And I had the feeling that they were just out there to, of course, fuck up the entire YouTube platform, as of course they know that the LGBT community has a very big presence on YouTube, and that, or the GSRM community has a very big presence on YouTube. And of course these people hate, homosexual people, hate, transgender people, lesbians, bisexuals, all that sort of stuff. So, the idea is that YouTube is thinking about this policy that I don't know much about. I don't know what it will do. I can't assume I know what it will do. But the thing is that looking at the history of YouTube is this big problem where YouTube will take down one channel and then obviously it doesn't know the difference between the people who debunk that channel and the people who are actually on that channel. And that's a big problem because, like I said, that means that the people who own that channel or who own whatever other sort of stuff can now actually abuse the system and fuck over somebody who debunks their specific entities. And that's what I think is a big problem with YouTube. But now, here is the issue at hand where I got this from. Of course, you have Mr. Dapperton, who is an ANCAP, and he's saying, complaining about, obviously, YouTube censorship. And I find this kind of hilarious because ANCAPs believe in this idea of, how should I say, corporate rights over that of citizens, or individual rights, I meant to say. And this means human rights don't apply in the sense, because corporate rights to them are superior. So, what my question is why would Mr. Dapperden be sitting up here bitching about, YouTube possibly looking to take away his rights when he believes that YouTube's rights are superior? That just makes me laugh so much, because I know what this whole psychology issue is. It's all boiling down to the idea that conservatives have. If it fucks over somebody else, it doesn't matter. But if it fucks over me, then that's a problem. But that's how we see how conservatives are, especially, too, with the ANCAPs. And I'm thinking about doing a video on Mr. Dapperden at some point in the future, whatever. But, yes, of course. It just doesn't make sense to me that an ANCAP would be sitting up here saying, oh, they're taking away my rights, blah, 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 blah. And the fact is, in the United States of America, according to the First Amendment, also to their corporate rights are superior to, individual rights. So when you get up here and you say that, well, it's not necessarily corporate rights, it's obviously private rights, so to speak, and YouTube is a private entity owned by Google. So therefore, Google actually has the First Amendment rights, not Mr. Dapperden, and not anybody else who goes on the platform. So, the thing is, why? I just have to say this. Why would a capitalist be saying, complain about this corporate, this whole idea of censorship, when it's YouTube's rights to decide what speech you have on the platform, or Google's rights to decide what speech you have on the platform, and the United States federal government says that. Oh yes, I know Mr. Dapperden doesn't believe in the United States federal government, but he still believes that these sort of nano-states should fucking exist, and that obviously this other bullshit, which leads to fucking slavery, which, of course, I've said about in the past with anarcho-capitalism in small ways somewheres, but there's a whole critique about anarcho-capitalism and how stupid and dumb and fucking outright retarded it is. But, if you want to talk about the idea of imposing slavery on every single human being in the world, that's exactly what anarcho-capitalism is. It's basically states, little states, that are composed of corporate entities, because a major state like the United States federal government isn't there to regulate the system. Now, in a socialist system leading up to that, of course, obviously, you would have the society regulating corporate entities until there isn't a necessary need for those corporate entities to exist. And that's exactly how that would apply, that the corporate entities and all these sort of hierarchy systems would just fade away. But no, this doesn't deal with the hierarchy systems. It still leaves them in place. Therefore, when there's no regulation to actually stop them, it's still implying a fucking, structure of how should I say, of slavery. It's still implying this idea that, everybody is, kind of a slave to the fucking, corporatist bourgeoisie, whatever. And, That's exactly what anarcho, capitalism is. I mean, it just doesn't, it doesn't get rid of hierarchies. I said it time and time again, and that's one of the biggest problems. I talked about this before in a live stream, where, of course, the about the structure, the so-called, was it the picture that was made from, of course, the 19th century, where you had the bourgeoisie on the top, the people, the kings, the queens, and of course the church being on the top, or the church being above them, and then of course the lower classes being below that, and the actual workers, the proletariat, being on the bottom, and of course being enslaved to everybody on the top, and then money being the whole process of enslaving people. And that's what the whole process of the church was, just to say that. But yes, this whole thing, I don't fucking understand why a fucking ANCAP would even think about, like, bitching about censorship, when, of course, they believe that corporate rights are more important than individual rights. It just blows my fucking mind. And I mean, you would think that these people would literally be the people who are the most supportive of Google taking away their speech, or YouTube taking away their speech, and not the left wingers. But I mean, seriously. And we know this. We know that YouTube is going to pretty much side with the fucking right-wingers, and is going to start taking down left-wing YouTube channels, because left-wingers are going to fucking abuse the system, because it's fucking ridiculous that, of course, YouTube has this thing where, it will take down these specific channels, but then also take down the fucking channels that critique it. So, yeah, I don't know. This whole bullshit thing, I think that certain censorship does need to happen. I think there needs to be a structured system in place for this sort of stuff. But especially allowing us creators who do debunk sort of things to be able to critique other creators. But, I mean, YouTube has to be able to decide, whether this is a legitimate critique, or rather this is harassment. And the idea is, like I said, these neo-Nazis and whatever, they'll call anything under the sun harassment, and just to get the voice of the other person taken down, and which is complete utter crap. But it is what it is. Other than that, YouTube, there's no other words I have to say, so peace out.